Hi guys, good morning. This is Dan. Welcome to Engelgeist. For those of you that are new, welcome. For those of you that are returning, welcome back. For those of you that support me over on Patreon, thank you so very much for your subscriptions. They do mean the world to me. This is the daily forecast for all signs. It is a shared collective energy, so it is done in sort of like a broad spectrum kind of way. I will use broad terms to kind of keep it open to everybody in their potential situation. So you have to kind of figure out specifically where it best fits in your life, if at all. If it doesn't fit, that's okay. Nothing's broken or wrong. You're not doing anything wrong. You just might be working on something different at this time. This reading is originally created for Monday, the 19th of July, but it is not solely set for that date. If you're seeing this on a random date somewhere in your feed or somebody sent it to you, it could be that you're ready to hear the message and that you might be prepared for the message when you're seeing it rather than when it was originally created for. So keep that in mind. In the drop-down menu on my YouTube channel below the daily forecast, there's always a house rules kind of thing that I want you to look at if you haven't already. It gives you information on how to get in contact with me if you're interested in a private reading, how to, things to think about when utilizing my readings, what decks I use, all of that sort of stuff. So check that out if you haven't, if you're new to me. Also, please, if you want to support the channel, very easy ways to support is just by hitting that thumbs up button if you're enjoying the content, leaving me a question or comment. I do read them all and will respond if need be. And following me on social media via either subscribing to the channel, which is the best way to do it. If you choose to do that, please hit the notification bell so you get notified when I go live. Or you can follow my business page on Facebook or my Instagram. My Instagram, I kind of don't post as much as I should, but it's there for you if you need it. So let's get into this and see what the cards want us to know. Oh my God, shut up. What is going on? And I just shuffled the deck like a good, 8 to 10 times. That was like quite a bit of shuffling. Out of 78 cards, this card has shown up 3 days in a row. I don't understand this deck. This deck is extremely... I was thinking about this deck because I was speaking to a viewer / friend yesterday, and we were talking about the sort of the bossiness of this deck and how this deck has... I noticed, like, I went back because this card showed up 2 days ago at the end of last week's readings. This is the Five of Wands, just for those of you that might be just tuning in and have missed the last 2 previous days of readings. And here it's called the Adalita of fire, just so you know. The plant is Black Cohosh, Cohosh, which I have not looked up. I should probably look up that plant because I have not really researched that plant. The Five of Wands is always about... Okay, so wait, let me explain this real quick story. So when I went back to look, because the Five of Wands sort of felt like the first Pip card, and Pip is a reference to any of the cards numbered, not aces, but 2 through 9, or 2 through 10, I should say. They're called sometimes in decks Pip cards. They're not the court cards, and they're not the aces, and they're certainly not the major arcana, right? They're the Pips. They're kind of the life situational stuff that goes on, or they represent that. Each card represents a different aspect or archetype of, not necessarily an archetype, but a situational life happening, right? So I was thinking about this month and how this deck has been very repetitive with its messages, very pushing its messages through. And I was thinking about how it is a plant-based deck. It's called the HERBCRAFTERS Tarot, right? And so it is very much connected sort of to the physicality, to the earth, and I like that about it. And I think that that's part of why it's so sort of, I don't know if forceful is the right word, but maybe blunt in its descriptions, a little bit repetitive, and that's fine. Maybe our energy is moving a little bit slower this month as we transfer into Leo season. Maybe we need these messages to be a little bit more in our face. I'm not sure, but this deck is certainly making sure that these messages get across, is my feeling, right? Or it's certainly giving us time to kind of evolve with these messages, which I don't mind. I'm not bothered by it. I actually kind of like it. But that, long story short, when I was thinking about it, I was like, is this the first pip card to show up? And I went back and I looked, and that was back on the 17th. Today is the morning of the 18th. I'm filming this for the 19th, right? So that was yesterday. I went back. No, was it yesterday? I guess it was. So it came up on the 16th, then the 17th. So I went back and I was looking at, because I write down all of the readings for every day on a calendar on my desk, just to kind of keep a running idea of what's going on, like suits, all of that sort of stuff. And we only, out of 17 days, and mind you, on Sundays, we have like 3 cards for the reading. So we're talking about more than 17 cards, right? Out of those 17 days, right? Does this make sense? I hope I'm making sense. It's still early here. Out of the 17 days, only did we have 2 pip cards previous to this card. Does that make sense? So what I'm saying is that although this month has felt very, I keep getting this feeling that we're setting up the stage for something to come. I don't know what that's about, but I just feel like that's what's going on for a lot of people in the readings, and that it feels, although we may not feel like we're doing massive changes or creating major things or moving super swiftly, there's some big cards that keep coming through, like lots of major arcana and lots of, although it's repeating, and lots of court cards. It's been a lot of court cards. We've only seen like the 3 of Pentacles, and I want to say, what was the other one? The 4 of Cups was the only other, that was on the 12th, and the 3 of Pentacles showed up on the 11th. Everything else previous to that has been total either court or major arcana, guys. And then even moving forward, we didn't see the 5 of Wands until, the morning of the 17th. So yesterday I filmed and we got the 5 of Wands again, right? So it's just kind of interesting to me. Now, this is the 3rd day that the 5 of Wands is here. So I'm going to explain its story for those of you that are new. You may want to check the last 2 previous readings. There is something going on. The 5 of Wands always indicates a struggle, a power struggle of sorts, an opinions-based struggle. It can be competitive energy getting out of hand. It can be just an overall, I call it the, a whole lot of fuckery card, right? In the sense that it's sort of those things that, office politics going sideways, or personalities getting out of hand, and feelings getting hurt, right? It can represent that sort of stuff as things that start out maybe as fun, like teasing, play, whatever, that gets a little bit harmful or painful, right? And the question is how long do we stay on the ride, right? How long do we stay in the fight? How long do we partake in the melee to get our point across, to prove our side, to win the battle, right? Is it worth it to us, is kind of the quality of the 5 of Wands, or how I see the 5 of Wands. 5s are always about transition, right? Shifting, moving, and they're very, probably to me personally, I feel like 5 is one of the most transitory numbers, right? I would say 5 and 7 to me kind of feel that way. 7 is more of a conscious choice though, right? Where we actually choose to move. Where 5 is like we might even be being pushed by the situation. Certainly in the 5 of Wands, it would be fiery personalities, people's opinions, people's poor behavior or choices, and us getting affected by it and then wanting to slap somebody upside the head kind of thing. With this card, I don't necessarily feel that so much because it's such a pretty card. I love the white of the black cohosh, even though I can't understand why it's called black cohosh because it's a white flower. What I do notice in this, and what I noticed 2 days ago, is the overcrowding of these plants, right? It feels like everybody's got their route, their path. We're all maybe fighting for space, that fight, that struggle, whatever that space is. And when I'm talking about fighting for space, I'm talking about, we all have our plans, our ideas, our goals, right? And so whatever our plan, our idea, our goal is that we're going after, because that would be a Wands sort of connection there. Wands being the element of fire and spirit. We're trying to remain true to. The truth to me, or the remaining true, is that white star. I feel like it's like rising up above the situation. being in our truth, emanating our truth, the purity of that, the strength of that, right? We're seeking that or finding that maybe amidst the melee or the frustration. That would be the red wall to me, personally. But although I do get a very peaceful feeling, I think this is one of the prettiest Five of Wands cards I've ever seen, right? So I love that there's sort of this peace to be had, even in the star makes me feel very peaceful. It's really weird. Even the white cohosh, I can see that it's like sort of overcrowded or kind of growing over each other, but it's not necessarily harmful per se, right? And we get a choice of where and how we want to grow, and we can concentrate on others and their growth patterns or their paths that they choose, the decisions that they make. We can get frustrated by them, we can, judge them or get caught up in that shit, or we can continue to sort of stay in our own lane and move forward in our own growth pattern regardless of what others do, right? And I think that's some of this message. If we're feeling challenged by, say, situations or people in our life right now, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. That's what the Five of Wands would represent. But it's like, how fast can we rise up to the clarity of that star, right? To the sort of, I don't know if separateness is the right word. That's not the right word. It's like what's the word I'm looking for? I'm sorry, it's early and I haven't had enough coffee. It's not separateness. It's like and it's not aloofness, but it kind of has the energy of being aloof, being detached, right? There's a certain amount of detachment, maybe. Detachment might be the right word. Detaching ourselves from the chaos of the fight for space, the fight for what's right in the world, that kind of a thing. Now, for some of you, it just flashed in my mind, some of this could be personal, right? Obviously, but some of it could also be more worldly or global, in the sense where we're looking at the world and seeing the world as the Five of Wands, right? And finding frustration or an inability to believe in the world around us right now, or see the sanity, maybe, And so we have to find that sanity within, and we have to make our decisions as to which battles we choose, right? That's some of Five of Wands energy. Is, do we want to get into the fray? Do we want to get caught up in the drama? Do we want to get caught up in the fight? So today is the day to choose wisely, young Jedis. So let's see what's going on with the Fairy Medicine Oracle. It's just so weird that these cards keep fire. Oh my God, shut up. All right, so this is the card that came up from yesterday too for the weekly. This is the underpinning energy kind of the week, right? It's explore and adventure. It does say, leave your comfort zone and explore the world. There's so much to discover. Now it's making me wonder, is there something we need to fight for? Only because of that phrase, leave your comfort zone. I mean, when I look at this picture, it's a little bit like kind of surreal, the art of this, but whales to me are highly intelligent, animals. They're some of the biggest mammals on the planet. They're incredible creatures, and he's sort of floating through the sky. So it is a little bit like magical thinking, right? It is card number 8, which would be about balance, or bringing ourselves into a place of ideally balance, maybe even a little bit of mastery, right? The explore and adventure to me is, I would say, have fun with situations that we maybe find distracting, annoying, that cause us frustrations, right? The Five of Wands, there's almost like, I feel like these two cards play off one another, where the explore and adventure means, like, in a way, if somebody's giving you a hard time, or they're driving you nuts, or a situation is feeling uncontrollable, out of hand, frustrating, there's a way to sort of remain playful in it, vibrate at a higher level than it. That would be also this representational of that white star on the wall, like sort of shining amidst maybe the chaos, the struggle, the frustration. Exploring, or the adventure in all of this, the exploring and the adventure is kind of look at these situations or these people, whatever it might be that's causing us to want to get frustrated or fight, kind of try to look at it from a different perspective. That would be the explore aspect of it. Having fun with it, enjoying it. I know that sounds weird, but what I'm saying is like, shift your perspective. Instead of letting it take you down some miserable long road of like, ugh, be almost light about it. Don't take it so personally. Choose how much energy or attention you give to it, right? What, like asking a situation that we might find uncomfortable or like, I don't know, that we don't like, asking it, okay, what are you trying to show me? What are you trying to teach me? Is it something about myself? Generally, as a rule, what I found with me personally, and I'll say this for most, I think it runs for most people, is when we have serious issue with a person or situation, generally the reason why we have such issue there is because there's something within them that rings a little too close to home within ourselves, right? Or if we find something that we can't stand in a person, generally as a rule, I find that there's that aspect somewhere deep within ourselves, and we want to negate it in them, or we want to shun it in them and judge it in them because we don't really want to look at it within ourselves. Does that make sense? And so there could be some of that going on here, and trying to create a little bit of an atmosphere of exploration and adventure means that, like, okay, so these situations that might bother me could actually potentially be giving me cues to areas I need to work on in my life, or into changes that I need to have take effect within me so that I can rise up like this white star and kind of get beyond this. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. Sorry I've gone so long on this. I just kind of want to drive this message home just because I feel like these cards are asking us to pay attention. And the grounding stone, okay, is on rose quartz, which is the heart chakra, and this is learn. What I think about the heart chakra and the rose quartz would be that anything that the Five of Wands presents to us over the last few days, if we're in the compassion of that heart chakra, we're going to be able to rise above it. We're going to be able to learn from it. That's also part of that exploration and the adventure in all of this. If we're keeping an open mind, and like I just said earlier, like, what is this situation trying to teach me? It's like, how are we connecting to the situation? How are we perceiving the situation? If we're going at it from a state of resistance, frustration, and anger, it's just going to persist until we sort of figure it out. Where if we open our heart and our mind and look at it from a place of learning, right, we actually learn more about ourselves in the sort of opportunities that are present there. If we keep that idea of exploration and adventure. Does that make sense? So now we've got two bossy decks on our hands. I don't know. I think that this HERBCRAFTERS Tarot is now teaching the Fairy Medicine Oracle how to be a little bit bossy. So we might need to be careful. That is your forecast for the day, guys. I hope you enjoy it. I hope this makes sense to people. I'm not sure, where you guys are at, but if you are in a place there of frustration, remember this 5 is transitory. We can find our way out of it. We can certainly change it through, like I said, being more compassionate, being willing to learn, being willing to explore, and look at this as more of an adventurous challenge than a frustrating situation. Does that make sense? All right, that is your forecast. Please enjoy it. Hit the thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel. I will see you guys tomorrow, and we will see what happens with all of this stuff. All right, take care. Bye-bye.